Hi, this is Dyanne Klinko from Backstage Pass Presents, and I have a fabulous person to talk with today. His name is Perrault. Did I pronounce that right?
You sure did. Thank you, Dyanne.
Oh, you're very welcome. Gene is the bass player for Hush. And as you know, Gene played with Robert Barry and also Paul Keller, right?
Correct. Yeah, Paul was in the band too.
Yeah, who else was in the band? You had a couple of drummers.
Well, let's go back. I got a surprise for you. I was going through some of my memorabilia that I found.
Ooh.
And I found this. This is the original band, Hush.
Oh my gosh.
And if you look all the way over on the left side, that's Robert Barry.
Oh, no way.
With the big smile and the star in his
that.
pocket. That's Robert Barry. And standing next to him is Joe Cannizzaro. He was the guitar player. I'm standing next to Joe with all that hair.
Oh my goodness.
And
sakes.
our original drummer is Mike Demick. So Robert's on the outside, I'm on the outside. And so Joe Cannizzaro and Mike Demick, the two guys in the middle, they left the band after about 6 months.
Really? Why so
soon? They went on to pursue other things. But what happened during that 6 months is Robert and I kind of melded together, and we became a unit, and we've been joined at the hip ever since. So I guess that's been about 40-45 years. Yeah. So that's this. I have found nobody else that has this picture. This is unique. This is the original Hush back in, I'm going to say 1973.
My goodness.
Isn't that amazing?
That is such a fabulous picture.
Yeah. The Hush that everybody remembers, and I'm going to try not to get a glare on this because I got it in a glare-free frame.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that. I can see that.
Okay. So again, I'm on the left side. Robert's on the right side. You can see how we changed.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. This is the band that really took off. And so Joe Cannizzaro left the band and he's replaced with Paul Keller. That's Paul next to Robert Barry.
Oh, you got to be kidding me.
That's Paul Keller. He's a cutie.
He is a cutie.
And then next to Paul with the hat on, that's our drummer, Roger Bonacera. He is probably one of the best drummers that I have ever played with. We used to work together, just drums and bass on every single song, so that they were so tight that Paul Keller and Robert Barry could do what they want to do on top of it. Robert Barry and I handled the lead vocals in the band. And Paul sang a couple of songs, but he was mostly background vocals, and the same with Roger. He sang lead on a couple songs, but he primarily sang background. So we were very lucky that we had four excellent musicians.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say that. We had three excellent musicians, not counting me.
Oh, stop.
And everybody could sing.
That's a really great plus to be able to have harmony.
You could see that our management company on the bottom was Norm Winter Associates, Public Relations, RCA. Does that say ASI or RCA Records?
You know what?
It says ASI Records, yeah. ASI Records, and then they got a contract, and there's our manager over there. This picture has a bunch of good information. It's Carol Shoup. She's our personal manager, but of course this is reversed because I'm showing it on the screen. It's reversed. So that's the band. You saw the very first picture, and then you saw the picture of the band that really did a lot of the stuff that you're familiar with.
Yes.
Yeah. So we tried out a couple of different drummers, and when our guitar player left, Joe Cannizzaro, we got Paul in the band. And I'll tell you how we got Paul in the band. I went to a party, and I saw Paul playing an acoustic guitar, and he was playing Mood for a Day by Steve Howe.
I love that song.
And And I just said, what a great guitar player. And I came back and I said, you know, Robert, I found this guy that is classically trained, you know, and I think we ought to try him out. We tried him out. End of the story. He's been in the band ever since.
Yeah.
So
Actually,
I found a lot of things in preparing for this. I thought a little show and tell might help.
oh, I love it. I absolutely love show and tell.
And
That's
then
awesome.
the first record that we ever did, this is on our own label,
Oh,
and
yeah.
this is on Crystal Records. Let me hold it like this. And if you look at it, it's called Wanna Dance, and it's written by Perrault. That's really me, Gene Perrault and Robert Berry. So this is the very first song that we recorded, and they played it all the time on the local radio stations because we didn't have a contract. So this is very hard to find.
I can
Okay.
imagine.
And on the back is a song that Robert wrote. It's called Tucking All My Love Away. I wish this wasn't reversed, but it is, right?
Oh,
Is it
yeah.
reversed?
No, actually, it's not. No, it's not. I can read it left to right.
Okay, because on mine it's reversed. But anyways, that's the very first record that we did in maybe 73, late 73, 74.
Mhm.
And they played that on all the local radio stations here. We started to get a local following, but we went national. And as you know, we also went, I love show and tell. We also went international. We had, after we signed our contract, which was with ASI, and then we got a
Yes.
distribution agreement through RCA in Canada.
Yes.
ASI put an album out. And this is the one that everybody remembers
Yes,
as
it
Hush's
is.
first album.
Yes,
Okay. And there we are again.
there you
There's
are.
again, Robert and I are on the outside. Robert's wearing the vest, and there's Paul Keller and Roger Bonacera. So that's the ASI record.
Now,
And then
is Paul the one closest to you?
yes.
Okay.
So
Wow.
there he grew a mustache and his hair's a little longer.
Incredible.
Yeah.
You guys look great too, by the way.
Thank you.
I love that era.
Yeah, it was fun. But
Yeah.
ASI was good because they actually released that same album, if you look at this, in Japan.
Yes.
So
they
we went
did.
international on our very first album.
That's awesome.
And they put a different picture on the back, the record company did, for that album.
Oh, wow. I can tell, I can see every one of you. Let's see, Robert, I believe, is on the left,
Uh-huh.
and you got Paul in the middle, and you are on the right.
Right. And that's Roger in the back.
Roger's
So,
in the back, yes.
yep. So that's the original band, and that's the album that was released in Japan. Okay.
Wow, what a great album to have, right?
Yeah, the Japanese, and
Yeah.
it did so well. They released now I'm going to get some glare on this, and I apologize. This is the Hush single
Oh,
in Japan.
wow.
And this is stuff that nobody can get, and I have copies of it. You know, I hope nobody robs me. And this has two songs on this. One is Who Holds the Light by Robert Berry, and Ever Since the Beginning, which is a song that I wrote. And we actually recorded Ever Since the Beginning up in Sausalito at the record plant.
Excellent,
Okay.
excellent. Oh, it's so awesome to see all this stuff.
What else can I show you? This is the album. This
Yes.
is the one that won the Bammy in 1983. And let me back up a little bit. There you go.
Yeah, there
So
you go.
in all the previous pictures, I just noticed Robert and I are standing on the outside. And on
Yes,
this one, I'm Robert is below me, right below me.
okay.
That's the new drummer that replaced Roger Bonacera. That's Peter Adams.
Okay.
Okay. And you can see Paul just takes great photos, doesn't he? I mean, look at that
Yes,
profile.
yes, he does.
He has
Yes,
that
he
Kirk
does.
Douglas profile, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, all you guys look really good.
Thanks. Thank you
Very
so much.
handsome, very
And-
handsome bunch of guys.
On the back, this is us. I don't know, someone took these at a concert someplace. Robert's in the top corner, Paul's in the top corner, then there's yours truly and Pete Adams on the drums. This band picked up when we added Peter because Roger left to take care of some other things, you know, family business and stuff like that. Roger toured with us a lot. And then Pete Adams picked it up. I got all this stuff here.
Wow.
And with Pete, we did this EP. We did a lot of records, huh?
Yes, you did. It's awesome too, by the way, because you have so much talent.
Thank you. So that's Pete Adams in the back, and then there's Robert, Paul Keller, and me, or this is reversed for me, so I guess I'm on the left side. Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
And so Pete Adams was on the Hot Tonight album that won the Bammy, and Peter was also on this EP that got released. And I think I have one more surprise for you.
Oh, okay. I love surprises.
This. And my bass fell down again.
Oh no, it did.
It's over on the bed. This is a bonus that a lot of people are trying to get.
Wow.
And if you look at that, it'll say Hush at Winterland in San Francisco.
Oh my gosh, I used to go to so many concerts at Winterland.
So we played at Winterland, and if you look at it, it was with Rush, UFO, and Hush. So that was when we did our Winterland show. Now, what's important about this is Peter Adams is playing on it, I believe. I'm sorry, no, it's Roger. Roger's playing on it. This was actually recorded and never released. I'm reading the liner notes here, 1978 through 1979. But it wasn't released until 1998.
Wow.
So
wow.
that's
the
the Hush Winterland. We call it the 98, the Great Lost 98 album. So we had that. So we put out a lot of recordings, and you know, a lot of people think, they go, oh well, they're just, you know, especially around here, oh, they're just a local band. And we were, and we'll never forget that.
I love local bands, and I actually think I was at that Winterland concert. Some of those bands sound really familiar, and I've seen so many people at Winterland. It was one of the best places to go see a concert. I really loved the setup, and you know how the seats were arranged and whatnot, and the acoustics were great.
They were, and we also played at the Boarding House.
Boarding House. Now that one I'm not familiar with.
Yeah, it was a club in San Francisco, big club. We played the night after Todd Rundgren, and then we played. Let's see, there was Winterland, the Border, Waldorf. We played the old
Waldorf. Yes, I've been to there too many times.
So. You know, so yeah, we started out local, but don't all bands, and we ended up going national and also international. So we had releases, you know, United States and Japan, and then quite recently, there's kind of a resurgence with Robert Berry and Hush. So we're getting interest in Europe, Italy, and England, and I know Robert gets a lot of emails from people over in Europe. So. Yeah, it's a lot of fun, and it was a part of history, and it was a stepping stone for Robert to do what he's doing now.
Yeah.
And you know, it all started with this little band out of Saratoga, California.
I love it.
Working our way up, and we basically had two major personnel changes: the drummer and the guitar player.
Right.
And that was early in the formation process of the band. So it turned out real good.
No, I think that's awesome. Now, you know what?
I wanted to get all of that. I wanted to make sure that you got the albums and the history on that.
I love it. I love it. And thinking about the albums and ASI, there is something that I think I remember about a story that happened when you were on tour, or the gear was going, yeah, I think it was some kind of desolate area, and the truck broke down
Yes.
and had all this hush equipment on it, and there was no money that ASI could provide to
Where
get
did
you
you hear
home.
that? Where did you hear that story?
Oh, I'll tell you what, I have my little secrets. But I would like you to share exactly what happened there.
Well, on our very first tour, we had a band truck, and it was a big truck. You know, it wasn't like a U-Haul or something. It was a big truck with dualies on the back. We had all the band's equipment and all the light equipment and all the sound equipment, and we had 3 roadies and the 4 guys in the band, and we're traveling. And I think we just finished our show at Studio in the Rockies in Colorado, which is a phenomenal place. Great room to play. It's a great way to kick off a tour. The crowd was fantastic and the sound was just excellent. So we ended up driving to our next place. And I don't know what that, I actually, oh, I got to interrupt here. You know, as I was going through all my memorabilia, I actually found our first tour. This is our first tour with ASI. I actually found the dates, the venues, and the hotels that we stayed at, that it lists them all out, like on this date, this venue, this hotel, this date.
Right.
So it's the tour schedule. And I found that I said, oh my God. And what happened is my parents wanted to know where you guys playing so we can keep track of where you are on which day, because they found it exciting, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
I gave a copy to my mom and she passed away. But we found this antique sewing machine that used to belong to her mother, my grandmother. We opened the drawer and she saved the tour schedule in that drawer. So anyways, the truck, you know, the truck, here we are, young guys on the road doing our tour. We're all excited, and the truck breaks down and nobody can fix it. And we can fix it and we bring it to the Ford dealership, but they said, yeah, but it's going to take 2 weeks and we got to order parts or something to that effect. It just wasn't going to work out. We ended up had to rent a truck to finish the tour, but it was a baptism of fire.
It sounds like it.
Well, did you see Bohemian Rhapsody?
Yes.
Okay, do you remember when they're traveling through the country and their truck breaks down, they go, what do we do now?
Yes.
Okay, let's see, 4 musicians and 3 roadies standing by the road, scratching their heads going, what do we do now?
No, I can just see you guys just sitting there worrying about getting to the next venue.
And there weren't any cell phones back then.
There were no cell phones, and you were in a desolate area, if I recall.
We were.
You were not exactly in downtown, you know, USA.
Yeah, but you know, it's these memories as the decades go by that you look back on them and you can laugh at them, you know. You can.
You know, there's something I always wanted to ask you about your bass. What is your favorite bass to play, and why is that?
Well, the bass, let me grab the Rickenbacker, okay?
That's what I was hoping you'd do.
All right, so here's a Rickenbacker, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Beautiful, beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you.
Equipment, by the way.
So as I was growing up, I liked the Beatles. Paul McCartney played a Rickenbacker.
Okay.
And then Yes came out.
Yes.
Chris Squire played a Rickenbacker.
Yeah.
And then I like Genesis. I saw them live in Berkeley and they did The Lamb.
I was there.
Yeah, wasn't it a great show?
It was awesome. Oh, that was so good. It gave me chills.
And Rutherford played a Rickenbacker. So I said, I really like the sound and I like the way it plays. And so that's why I started using a Rickenbacker. And then as time went by, a new company started called Music Man. And it was started by Leo Fender, who started in partnership with another gentleman, and Leo Fender started Fender Guitar. Mm-hmm. So I saw a bass player when we were on tour play one of those, and the band talked me into trying one out because they really liked the sound. And I went down and I found a 1978, 1979 Music Man, which was the first year that it came out. And it was just beautiful. It was black on black with a maple neck. And I played it. Now, the thing that I liked about that is that the sound that you heard on stage is the sound that the audience heard. And then when you're recording in the studio, it's much easier to record than a Rickenbacker. Rickenbackers do not record easily.
Oh, really? I did not know that.
Yeah, they sound good live when you have the amp and you're pushing a lot of air. But I switched over to a Music Man probably when we were doing the Hot Tonight album.
Mhm. Okay.
So on the first two albums, I used the Rickenbacker, and then on the Hot Tonight that won the BAMI, I switched to the Music Man.
And congratulations on that BAMI too.
Thank you. We were surprised.
Really? Why? It's a great album.
Yeah, it's fun. And it was a fun album. It was a transition for us because we started out being kind of a progressive band, and as time went by, we changed our style.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Hot Tonight came out, and
Yeah.
that's the one that really launched us. You know, we had two other albums. We had a couple of EPs and we had a CD and stuff, but the Hot Tonight album really launched the band.
That was the one.
Yeah.
That was it. What's your favorite album out of all of them?
Probably the very first album, because it has a lot of progressive music on it.
Yes.
There's a song on there called Hollywood that is rather long and complicated. Multi-time signatures, different textures and different things that I found very interesting. And we were young, so we were learning how to write, we were learning how to engineer, we were learning how to work as a band. And it was a time in my life that nothing was impossible. We could do this. That's my favorite album, the very first one.
You know, I can understand that and appreciate that very, very much. And, you know, it reminds me too, I understand that you are quite a good recording engineer.
Who told you that? Boy, you have a lot of information.
Well, you know, I do my homework. But no, I picked that little bit up someplace, and I do understand that you are a very good, excellent recording engineer, and I'd like to know how you got involved in that, how that started.
Well, simple answer. As we were learning what to do in the studio locally here, a lot of local bands took notice. And so Hush has always been known to be able to help local bands. Whenever we were playing someplace local, we would get an up and coming local band to open up for us. We really believe that the only way you can get a break is if somebody can give you a break. And so how I got into it is I started engineering some local bands with things that I've learned, and I learned a lot from Robert. As you know, he's a producer, engineer, and he was also learning the trade back then. So we were learning together. And I would take the education that I learned in the studio, and then I'd share it with the younger bands that wanted to record a demo, or maybe they wanted to send back then cassettes, they wanted to send a cassette to a booking agent or something like that. So that's how I got involved with it.
That's very interesting. I understand too, both you and Robert went to the same universities, San Jose State University, and studied music there.
We did.
Yeah. We did. Now, were you in the same class?
No, he was a year or two ahead of me. I ended up going there in 76, 77, and 78, and I majored in composition and education because composition definitely, because I wanted, if I was going to be writing songs, writing music, I wanted to understand the theory behind it.
Yes, sure.
And actually my instrument when I was majoring in music was piano. So I was a classical pianist, you know.
Oh, so you've been trained in piano as well as bass?
Yeah, but don't tell anybody because I can't play piano at all anymore. But
You
yeah,
gotta cook along the
I
way.
was doing the practicing 2, 3 hours a day, and all that kind of stuff, playing Bach, Beethoven, Brahms, Mozart.
Wow,
Yeah. And
very impressive.
but yeah, oh, it's okay. But getting back getting back to Robert, Robert and I went to the same college.
Mhm.
And by the time I met Robert, he had already started uh, working in a recording studio and engineering different bands. And that only helped solidify our relationship because we were going along the same route. Yeah.
Sure, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's a funny story about that. We got signed with ASI and they wanted us to go on tour right away. But I told them I wouldn't go on tour until I got my degree because that was my senior year of college.
Oh, yeah.
And there was I remember our manager, Carol Shoup, was a little upset with that, but I wanted to get my degree. So we did that and we were signed with ASI. So we went out on the road in March. We went to the Midwest in March. We were we were in 40-foot snowdrifts as we were driving through the Midwest, going to St. Louis and Minneapolis and North North Dakota and
My
just
goodness,
yeah, yeah.
cold.
So we couldn't have picked a worse time to tour, but it was again that's when it's also when the truck broke down.
You know what? I have to ask you, what is the most memorable story that you can share that's happened to you and the band while on the road?
We played at this big venue in Sacramento, and this is a fun story. And we had an opening act and we went on stage and the crowd loved us, and I guess they're playing our record on the Sacramento stations at that time, and it was just great. And it was about 1 o'clock in the morning, and you have to quit playing by 1:15 or 1:30 so that they can clear out. They serve
Sure,
alcohol, so they had to clear it out by 2 o'clock.
sure.
So it's 1 o'clock. We're in the groove. We're going. I mean, we know we got 15 minutes left, and the crowd is going wild. And all of a sudden, up at the front of the stage is Cheap Trick. Yeah, Cheap Trick. So they just did a show at the Arco Arena, I believe it was, in Sacramento. And
Okay.
of course, they finished by 10:30, 11 o'clock, but it was Robin Zandner's birthday, the lead singer's birthday.
Oh, no kidding.
So what was good about that is that about 1:30, well, first of all, everybody got on their phones, and well, I don't think we had cell phones, but everybody was get out of here, I gotta call my friends, tell them who's here, Cheap Trick's here. But what was really fun is I can remember that the owner of the club actually tried to get most of the people to leave, except probably his closest friends and the bartenders and us, and
Oh,
maybe
my.
about 100 people. And Cheap Trick got on stage and jammed with us for a long time, and their drummer wasn't there. So Roger was our drummer at the time. Roger played drums. And you had Roger playing drums, the bass player, the lead guitar player, and the lead singer from Cheap Trick. And that's something that I just popped into my head,
Yeah,
something that I
that's
remember.
memorable. That's
Yeah.
so memorable.
So for
I understand that your haircut back in the day, that you're actually remembered for your haircut. People recognize you from the style of your hair. Is that something that you can identify with?
Yes, Dyanne, and no, I can't do anything with it. I used to musicians say, I love your hair. How do you get it to do that? And I go, I don't. It does it on its own. So here's all these rock and roll musicians that want a spiky haircut, or you can look at the other photos, like Bon
Right,
Jovi and
right.
Full and all that stuff. And
They say that that's how they know it's you. You've got that beautiful hair.
oh, thank you. A couple of weeks ago, my wife gave me a list to go shopping, and I went grocery shopping, and I'm at Safeway, and somebody said, Jean Perrault. And I turned around and it was an old friend that I hadn't seen in 30 years. And
Wow.
I said, how'd you know it was me? And he goes, nobody has hair like that.
I love it.
And
I
he saw it from the
absolutely
back.
love it.
Yeah, I've always had it, you know, it's always just kind of been like this. And I wish I could do something with it, but
Let me ask you, what are you and Robert doing today?
you know, most people don't realize this, but besides being bandmates, we're best friends. So Robert was the best man in my wedding. I was the best man in his wedding.
Oh, fabulous.
Okay. And I
Yes.
speak or text to Robert, or he speaks or texts me probably every day or every other day.
Mm,
You know, he has a wonderful wife and great kids,
yes,
you know,
yes.
and I have a wonderful wife, Rosemary, and great kids.
Oh, wonderful.
And so we talk about what people talk about, you know, what are the kids up to? What's going on? How's the wife? We go out to dinner maybe, you know, once every couple of months where the four of us get together. Robert, Rosemary, Rebecca, and me.
I think
And
that's
he
fabulous.
has a place over in Capitola by the beach.
Yep.
So we'll drive over the hill
Mhm.
and end up on the beach, and we'll go out to dinner. We spend time together. And sometimes, last time we were over there, we just go to his living room and lay on the couch. We watch a movie together, just the four of us.
I think,
Robert and I will go out. He'll call me up and he'll say, "What are you doing?" I'll say, "Nothing." He goes, "I'm going to take a break at the studio. Come on down. We'll go to Starbucks." And we'll spend, you know, half hour, 45 minutes, an hour, just talking about the old days. But we're still very close. We're still, um, you know, we're still close with all the guys in Hush. And it's a family, you know, knock on wood, all of us are here,
yes,
you know.
right. And you know, it's so, it makes me feel so good inside knowing that you guys have developed a relationship like that. I'd
Yeah.
actually heard that. And
Well, it's so close, Dyanne, that we're such good friends that you know, most people don't have, they have a good friend, but they don't have a lifelong good friend like
right,
the two
right.
of us.
Somebody you can actually call your brother almost.
He is. Someone asked me one time, they said, "What's your description of your relationship with Robert?"
This is Dyanne Klinko from Backstage Pass Presents. I do apologize for the abrupt ending of the video, but we did run out of time. I wanted to thank Jean Perrault for joining us, bass player for Hush. Thank you so much, Jean. And Jean wanted me to leave you with this. His relationship with Robert Barry is a very special one. He is more than a brother to Jean and a little less than a wife. I think that's a pretty powerful statement. And I think that goes to show you the fabulous relationship Robert Barry has with Jean. And been going on for over 40 years. Pretty awesome. Anyway, I'm going to end and thank you so very much for joining us today. Take care. Have a great day. Bye-bye.